Hey everybody, welcome to Now It's Dark. I'm Jim. I just watched a movie called Earworm. It's a 2024 film, 1 hour and 41 minutes, horror thriller. Eh. This is available on Prime, Vudu, and Apple TV. It's about Henry Adams, who is a socially awkward man seeking help for his condition. Accepts an invitation to a self-help group that is more than it seems. Danger is around every corner as Henry goes deeper into the treatment. This was written and directed by Kyle Klieg and stars Richard Lounello as Williams, Evan Jones as Henry, and the doctor was played by John Romeo, Dr. Corvath, the evil doctor. um, who is conducting the treatments for particularly they mentioned shyness. So um, it's really hard to talk about this film because there's so much not going on. Um, the movie did not do a good job for me establishing a likable character that I wanted to follow or root for. So there was plenty of times where my engagement kind of drifted. Henry was not, um, just wasn't doing it for me, the character Henry. Um, we do see an arc with his character once the treatment starts, and we do see progression into his ability to kind of break away from his shyness. He's also got a best friend, a coworker who's really a bully. He's a real big dick. So I don't know if we were supposed to hate that best friend so much that it made us like Henry, but Henry just didn't. He was so depressing, and other than the friend kind of verbally abusing him all the time about what a loser he was, you don't really get a sense of that there's other factors that have impacted Henry as an adult for why he's so shy and just was weird. It didn't really work for me. Um, so the there's a sub story as well about these two detectives that are um, at a crime scene, and for some dumb reason, the detective notices this book. The book was written by the doctor that's conducting the treatments. So that leads the detectives to go visit the doctor and ask if he remembered anything about the particular person that had passed. And the doctor was confused, like, why would you come to me for this? And they said, oh, well, we saw his book. Now, the guy that was killed had lots of books. Like, did they go to every one of the authors of these books? And how often would a murder happen in the same town that the author was in? Very, very kind of didn't really like that. I had more questions than they were providing answers for. It was at that moment where I just was like, I have to kind of suspend reality and just kind of go with this and hope for the best. Um, so Henry goes to one session. He also has the book, and the story goes on for what felt like forever, to the point where I forgot about the detectives. I forgot there was this even second story going on, and Henry gets invited to go participate in a private group. Um, and after being, berated by his friend some more, he did do the private group. They do some attempts at some psychedelic type stuff, some, I don't know, Cronenberg ish visualizations of things. Didn't really work either. Um, then they introduced the actual earworm. And yeah, it just reminded me of a really bad attempt at recreating the scene from Star Trek II Wrath of Khan, and I apologize, you youngsters, if you're going to have to search that. But there is a scene in the beginning of the Star Trek II movie where Chekhov has a thing put into his ear that gives some mind control-ish type things to the person that put it in there, particularly Khan. So that's the closest explanation that I can relate to of this earworm. But the earworm looked like a turd. It literally looked like a piece of shit. Didn't move, didn't show any signs of being um, alive other than the sounds it made going into the ear. But it literally looked like Mr. Hanky from South Park. It was a piece of shit. It was like they took a dog's shit off the front yard, sprayed some glossy sealant on it, and that was it. This movie was very slow. It was very boring. Um, like I said, I forgot about the whole second story with these detectives. And then it's reintroduced out of kind of just nowhere. And I'm like, oh, yep, these guys, I got to watch. So there was a male and female partners, the male marital issues, whatever. They find another murder scene. Oh, and guess what? There's a book at the scene. This is a little spoilerish, but it's such a bad waste of time. Um, and then so Henry just goes off the rail. He actually does find a girlfriend who's the barista at the coffee shop that he goes to. Because of the treatment and the earworm, he did get the courage to ask her out, and they form a relationship. But then because of the earworm, he just goes off the rail. In the mix, one of the murder victims had a very grotesque looking face. And then that was seen a second time. So there was two times where characters had like this grotesque face. And I didn't think much of it other than they were just part of the murder or whatever. They were burned victims or something. It does play into the ending of this movie where they tried to create a little bit of a twist. I say try because it really was so uneventful. You kind of knew that the male detective was already having issues, and the resolution with the shit worm, um, wasn't really that shocking. There was an attempt there. The acting was just mid. The background music and everything was just okay. There was nobody likable though. You didn't like the cop. You didn't like his partner. The doctor, obviously, you weren't supposed to like. The best friend was a dick. But Henry, unfortunately for me, I didn't click with it, and so that the movie itself didn't work. But if you want to check this out, it's on Prime, Vudu, Apple TV. But don't give it a real strong recommendation. But let me know in your comments down below. In your comments, leave your comments down below. Whatever. Just stay away from shit worms.
Row 18, plot 20.